Hi, I'm Jonathan Harris.
And I'm Blane Mader, and we're introducing a new ballet web series called Textbook Technique, an educational and comprehensive guide to basic ballet training.
In this series, we will cover all aspects of ballet training that include proper technique, different styles of technique, partnering, injury prevention, cross-training, and much more.
In this episode, we're going to talk about what makes ballet ballet. There are certain universal and basic principles that encompass all styles of ballet. These qualities are turnout, the positions of the feet, port-de-bras, which is the use of the arms, in addition to épaulement, which is the use of the head, and the qualities that make dancing look effortless.
Turnout is when the dancer externally rotates his or her legs from the hip joint so that the toes face outward, creating a flat 180-degree line.
When turning out your legs, there are a few things you need to remember for all positions. Take a look.
You want to keep in mind that your heel, the ball of your big toe, and your pinky toe are always on the ground. You do not want your pinky toe to lift off the ground, nor do you want the arches to lift up either.
Also, when turning out, it is important to remember that the rotation comes from the hips, not the knees. So when you're doing many basic ballet movements, such as plie, you want to make sure you're rotated from your hips so that your knees are in line with your toes. You never want this, with your knees going over your toes, to occur.
When discussing your legs turnout, it's important to use your body's natural turnout and your muscles' natural rotation. If you end up over-rotating from your hips, your knees, or ankles, you can very seriously injure yourself by forcing your turnout.
Now let's discuss the position of the feet. This is first position. This is second position. This is fourth position. And this is fifth position.
Now we're going to discuss these positions just a little bit. Notice Jonathan in first position. In first position, it's important to remember that your feet are approximately 180 degrees across, a nice straight line. Also notice how his thighs are pulled up, his knees are together, and his butt is tucked in. This creates a nice line of the leg. Go into second position, John. This is Jonathan in second position. The same principles apply. His feet are turned out at 180 degrees. They're about hip width apart in second position. His thighs are still pulled up and his butt is still tucked under. Fourth position, Jonathan. In fourth position, it's important to remember that your foot distance cannot be too far apart, but it can't be too close. A good rule of thumb is that they're approximately 1 foot distance apart. His legs are still turned out, everything is still placed and held. Now fifth position, Jonathan. Fifth position is the tricky one. In fifth position, it's important to remember that it should be toe to heel and toe to heel, a nice parallel line. Both of your thighs are turned out and your butt is held and everything is pulled up in a nice straight line.
Now we are going to demonstrate the positions of the arms, or port-de-bras in French. Right now, Blane is in the preparatory position. Now show them first position. Notice how his hands are at chest level in a nice round shape. Now second position. His arms are still round and at chest level, only to the side of his shoulders. Now fifth position. Notice how his arms are still round, but this time they are above his head. During port-de-bras, it is very important to note the position of your fingers. When you're in any kind of round position of the arms, you want your fingers to also be slightly round, so that when you have to go into a straight position of the arms, your fingers can also lengthen. Here's what it looks like in second position. my fingers are round. You can see all of them. And then when I lengthen my arms, my fingers straighten also. And when I come back to the round, second position, my fingers also bend. In second position, it is very important to note that there should be a downward sloping of the arms. The shoulders should be slightly above the elbows, which should be slightly above the wrist, tapering down to the bottom of the pinky finger. The same goes with first position. In first position, you want your hands to end right in front of your sternum. This way, your shoulder is above your elbows, above your wrist, and finally your fingers are the farthest down. In fifth position, it is very important to note the orientation of the hands. When the hands are above your head, you never want your palms to be facing towards the audience. This isn't very balletic. You always want your palms facing down towards you and fingers round.
Similar with all other arm positions, such as first, second, and fifth, even in the preparatory position, it's important to keep a nice, round, even arm shape, very symmetrical right down the center line of your body, with your shoulders back and your chest placed. When dancers are exploring turnout and positions of the body, it is important for them to be aware of the placement of their back and shoulders. Dancers utilizing their turnout in position should always note that their back needs to be 100% straight up and down from the top of their head all the way down to the heels of their feet. It is very dangerous to slouch your back and arch your back, which will lead to further injuries down the road. Also note that the shoulders must be placed over the hips in line with the arms, as we stated earlier, for a nice, steady, even line that's very consistent.
Thanks for watching this first episode of Textbook Technique.
Be sure to check out our next episode where we demonstrate proper technique and placement for bar, which is the first half of ballet class.